Alright guys, okay, and I've taken the liberty of opening the package. As you can see, it has three separate drawers, and it kind of reminded me of Japan for some reason. I'm not racist, but I'm just saying. Right, so the top drawer, if I can get in, has the cables. Sweet. Two carrying bag, different cables, one red, one black. Hope you're not colorblind. Manual, obviously. Even my microwave has a manual, and it's like 10 years old. Lots of cables. I just wish they were braided fully black, and I wouldn't have to use the motherboard extensions that I do, because they do decrease efficiency by a fair amount of margin, but you know, what can I do? Now, in this, you will find an Enermax fan. That's, you know, a complimentary thing. Nice of them to include one. And in there, you'll find two Velcro straps, Enermax logo, some screws to mount the power supplies, a big bulky cable for the power supply, and two more Velcro straps. I got it right that time. Shut up. And this is actually something interesting. It's a clip that you attach to the back of your power supply, and it ensures that if your computer suddenly, you know, moves, if you get big animals at home or children that likes to mess around, the power cable wouldn't get cut off, and you wouldn't lose all your work or whatever you were doing. Hopefully not watching porn. Yeah, so that's a pretty good thing to have. What's this? Modular sockets and DC rails distribution. Won't need that. Actually, I will. Don't want to get anything wrong in this. Highest efficiency 87-93%. Unbeaten silence of 330 plus RPM. Is that even moving anything? S330? That doesn't matter. Heard only good things about this. And for the unit itself, wow, it's gold, which could be a bit of a problem, but I'm gonna face it down anyway. I should just say, for people that think facing the fan of a power supply down or up, depending on your configuration, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't do anything. Now, taking fresh air from outside or some warm air inside and exhaust it out, it could help the inside airflow, but I won't need that. And I mean, some people like it because the fan is nicest facing up. I always say if you're doing something, the screw or something might fall in and you'd be in big trouble. So I'll just face it down like so, and stare at the big sticker Enermax put on the back of the power supply. One thing that's very good that they include, obviously, is a switch to physically kill the power supply, and it's a very nice thing, because the system I have right now, I have a 1200 watt power supply, and it doesn't have a switch. So when I was doing my water cooling thing, I had to constantly take the cord, plug the cord in and out, and that gets annoying. And it's very convenient to have a switch. Case, basically, the fans are actually transparent, pretty good looking, and for the PCI lanes and everything. So yeah, all these 6 red ports are for your graphics cards, and of course you can use them for the EPS 8-pin power connector for the CPU as well. I will need 2 of those, as I'm running 2 CPUs. These 2 are for the 24-pin motherboard connector, and these 6 are for the peripherals, stuff like Molex and SATA connectors floppy connectors if anyone uses these nowadays. Yeah, so yeah, again 80% efficiency, all that good stuff. As you can see, they got 6 separate 12-volt rails, and each of them can supply up to 30 amps. And the total of everything that it can supply is basically 1,344 watts. Pretty much everything, pretty much 1,350 that's rated for this power supply. And 140 watts on the 3.3 and 5 volt rail, which, those are the rails that drive your hard drives and fans and whatnot. 12 volt is basically for CPU and GPUs and the motherboard, basically. Actually, yeah. So yeah, now what are there's some braided cables and fittings and compression fittings I have to go over. Some cable ties, which is not very exciting, and the fan controller, obviously. So let me just take that out of the box, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, guys, one thing I forgot to mention. What, again? Yeah, again, I keep forgetting because there's a lot of stuff I'm going over. The cables for power supply. I'm just going to sort them out in a desirable fashion, and I'll be back in a second again. Right, there were a lot of cables and I have to sort them accordingly, just not to get confused. Here we have 4 times Molex in a single cable, and we have 2 of those cables, so that'll give you 8 Molexes. You get 3 SATA cables, each have 4 SATA connectors, so you get 12 of that, and you get 1 hybrid, and which has 2 Molex and 2 SATA connectors. Yeah, I said hybrid, so please no Prius jokes. And you get 4 of these. Well, ugly because they look ginger. They look ginger. They actually look brown on the camera. I'm not sure. They're actually red. So yeah, these are your PCI Express connectors, 6+2. You can see them, 6+2. You get 4 of them for a quad SLI setup. You also get a 4-pin and an 8-pin EPS power connector. 4-pin if you get an old motherboard, and the 8-pin if you get a not so old motherboard. You also get your 24-pin motherboard connector, which also comes with an 8-pin CPU EPS connector, so that's a good thing. So I pretty much have everything. I mean, the power supply provides everything that I'd possibly ever need, unless I'm going to get, let's say, 4 EVGA classified 580s. And if you guys don't know, each of those cards use 2x8 plus 1x6 PCI Express connectors, so you basically need 3 of these cables just to put on 2 of them. Yeah, it's kind of a no-no. And I should just mention that there were 6 red 12-volt rail ports at the back of the PSU, but you get 5 cables. You can buy another cable separately for the last rail, but by then I'm pretty sure your system would be overloaded anyway. If you got 4 graphics cards, let's say 4 GTX 580s, those alone would consume about 1,000 watts of power overclocked when under load. So yeah, 1350, that's the rated wattage of the power supply. Yeah, it's kind of not possible to run 2 CPUs and 4 GPUs all at the same time with a single power supply, unless it's rated at, let's say, 2,000 watts. There isn't such a thing, or maybe there is and I don't know of. But yeah, probably not going to get 4. And you know, since Kepler is coming, supposedly consumes less power, but we all know every new generation they just up the core count, up the voltage, and we buy it anyway. Yeah, so Sorry, I got sidetracked again. The fan connector, our fan controller. Gonna unbox it in a second, so I'll be back in a second.